My name is Jimmy Blanchard. I'm the director of tissue-based implants for RTI Surgical. And we've got the unique opportunity today to not only share a patient story, but because we're a tissue bank, we're going to share the story on the donation side. So I'm lucky to have two people with me today, Colin Lepley and Dorothy Beckman. They're going to talk from the donation side, as well as how the donation has impacted the life of a patient. To do that, we're going to start with a video.
RTI Donor Services is pleased to be here today to remember and celebrate the gift of tissue donation given by Michael Erickson.
Mike was a great kid growing up. He was always happy. He was just a really neat kid. Big smile. I think the change in Mike came probably as a sophomore in high school. He just withdrew and spent a lot of time sleeping and a lot of time alone. Mike suffered from a depression disorder. He joined the Marine Corps and he took his basic training out in California. And I think that was the proudest thing he's ever done. Mike worked the third shift, so I wasn't going to call him until the next day, because when he worked the third shift, then he slept all day long. So I didn't have a chance to call him on Christmas, because the next morning when I went to work is when the police department found me and told me what had happened. I've been a donor, I think, since I got a license. And it just made so much sense. It makes so much sense. When something can be done for people that want to live, it only makes sense to do the donating thing. There was never a second thought on that. I mean, the end result would have been the same. Mike was gone. Why not pass on something to someone who needed and wanted it? There are so many dark days, and you donate, and you don't expect anything from donation. I didn't expect a thing, but as the days went by, I wanted to hear, I wanted to know that somebody was better, that somebody was alive that wouldn't have been alive. I just wanted someone. I wasn't looking for thanks, just a word that things were better.
So you were all just introduced to Dorothy Beckman on the video. I would like Dorothy and Colin to actually introduce themselves. Dorothy?
Hi, I'm Dorothy. Mike was my son.
This
is my family.
Yeah. And then I'm Colin Lepley. I'm the recipient from Mike's donation.
Can you guys hear us okay out there? Can you hear about them? Good. Dorothy, tell us a little bit more than what we saw in the video. So before this experience in your life, what did you know about tissue donation? What did you know about RTI?
I knew nothing about tissue donation. I was just aware of the organs in the eyes. But when they asked if I was specific as to what I wanted donated, I wasn't. Anything that they could use, I gave permission for. And that's how all of this came about.
Hold it a little closer.
Okay.
Colin, how about you? What'd you know about donation?
I mean, as far as I ever knew, was mainly about organs, organ donation. And I didn't really know anything about the tissue donation until I got later on in my injury, and they told me that was the only result of being able to fix that.
And Dorothy, how has this experience changed your life, going through what you went through with Mike?
I will forever miss my son, but stories like Colin's and letters that I got afterwards, I don't regret anything that I did for him. It's like, I know he's gone, but there are so many people that are here and mobile that probably wouldn't have been otherwise.
Do you know how many lives that your son Mike has touched since his passing?
It's like 380.
382 patients. have received donated tissue from Dorothy's son. It's a pretty incredible experience. Colin, what about you? So how has this changed your life? Well, before we go there, tell us about your injury.
Yeah, so I got injured playing football in high school. I was a junior when it happened, and I had an OCD lesion just in my right knee, and they had to go in there and they tried to fix it initially, but it wasn't able to repair it, so they told me that I would have to get on a list to wait for a tissue donation to fit in my knee. It was just about the size of a quarter in the distal part of my femur, and so I had to wait. I think it was exactly a year from my injury until I received the word that they had a match and that I'd have to go in and have the surgery. And since then, it was rough at first. I went through a lot of physical therapy with both my surgeries. And so it was a long adjustment period, but the outcome was that I was able to go into physical therapy as a career and then kind of on the side just speak and advocate for tissue donation because it's something that I didn't know about and my family didn't know about. And so now my on the side, and I just kind of make it a passion of mine, is just to be able to advocate for that so other people will know about it as well.
That's great. How about your career? How's it impacted your career?
Yeah, big for sure. When you're a junior in high school, I was playing football, so that was my whole focus, was to get back on the football field. Not really what I was planning on doing after that, but it kind of slowed me down. I was unable to finish sports, and so my focus was to be on my career and what I should do. And since I went through so much physical therapy, it made sense that I should just go into that. And so that's what I did. And so I do physical therapy now. I work at a long-term care setting, and I've done that ever since. And so I really enjoy it, and I really like it's cool when you've been able to be on that side of it, so you can relate with your patients and to be able to help them along their journey as well, because sometimes it's a long journey. So
Great. Colin reached out on his own to Dorothy after he had the procedure. Colin, can you tell us what was going through your mind, and why did you do that, and how did you do that?
So when they initially told me that what I was going to have was a cadaver part, and I was educated on what all that meant. The day that they told me, hey, we've got to get you into surgery, we found you something to fix your knee. And initially, my first thought was actually was sad. I was sad because I realized at that moment that somebody had passed away. And so initially, it was kind of a rough process. I was on my road to getting better, but I wanted to know, everything I could about my donor. So I had to write to this company, and not knowing if I would hear anything. And they sent it off to, it was Dorothy. And so we kind of wrote back and forth through a mediator or some sort and everything. And so, and then initially they let us meet, and then it's been from there on.
Dorothy, how'd that feel when you received that letter? What was your reaction?
I can't tell you. It was like a book. I got small, just a thank you line, so-and-so is better, and thank you for your gift. But this guy wrote a book. He told me everything he said now.
What did it say? What are some of the sound bites that came out of it? Either one of you.
Well, I felt like if I was asking a bunch of questions about, whoever it was at the time, I didn't know. So whoever it was that was my donor, I felt like I should, present some of my information. So I just let her or him, at the time, get to know me, and hopefully that they would, in turn, give information back, because sometimes that's hard for people, to relive that or to go through that, because it had just happened. And so I just wanted them to be familiar with myself. And so I just told her, that I was into sports and everything, and then that gift that I was receiving was helping me along that process to get back to that. And so I just told her about me and what I like to do and where I'm from and all that stuff.
For both of you, what has the relationship been like how powerful has the relationship gotten? How long has it been since the two of you met?
It was 2013 that we met. Yeah.
13.
2013 that we initially met, and ever since then, we've kind of gone on ventures like this together. But we also we try to keep in touch, whether it's calling or texting, and life gets busy. But we try to make sure that we stay in touch and what's happening. But so we've had a good relationship. You know, every time we see each other, it's not awkward or anything. It's just like it's always been. So
It's like having another kid.
Yeah. And you guys you're in Missouri, and you're in Wisconsin.
I'm in Wisconsin.
Okay, so do you ever see each other in person?
one time, I don't know what, a few years ago, we went up to Minnesota, and so they came out of their way to come visit us. So we try to if we ever head up that direction, but we haven't got her to come to Missouri yet. But maybe one of these days. There's not much to see, but.
Now, and you both advocate. You're both pretty active. We worked with you for a long time on tissue donation. Can you elaborate just a little bit? I mean, what tissue donation means to the two of you, and why do you advocate today to be a tissue donor?
Because I don't see why anybody would not want to be a tissue donor. It makes such sense. You can't take it with you. Someone may as well use what there is to give.
And I think on that end, a lot of people, they might agree with that, but I think a lot of people don't necessarily realize it. And then you have people trying to educate them when they're going through such a hard time in their life. That's kind of the last thing they might think about. So what I look at is that, I want to try to get the word to people first, to educate them as much as I can, so that way if something does happen, that, they're aware of that, they're already done that process, and so then, because I think a lot of people do agree with that, they can't take it with them, why not help somebody else in life? And so that's just the way I look at it, and I just try to educate as many people as possible.
Well, we have the unique opportunity to connect patients with donors all the time. I want to thank everybody here for listening to the story, for allowing us the forum to do this, because we know that not everybody understands the donation side of our industry, and obviously want to thank the two of you, Dorothy, you especially, for being here today. Thank you for sharing your story.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.